Hi everyone, it's Kate Kalthoff. Time for Whimsical cards today. It's so fun to be here. It looks like I have some kind of a funky little hat and sunglasses on. I think that was an accident. Hopefully when I turn it down to the stuff we're doing, that will go away, but maybe not. Oh goodness. It's good to be here. I think I am going to flip the camera down. Yes, I'm not so great at whimsical cards because my tendency is to want to do straight and narrow, kind of a straight lace girl. So we'll see how this goes, but let me go ahead and flip the camera and we'll give it a shot. All right, I think we're good to go. Hello, oh, it's good to be here. Oh my gosh, so much to talk about. Celebration is almost over, so that is only a couple more days. And I've got a very busy week ahead of me. I'm just not sure I'm going to be able to get it all done, but I think I can. I'm actually going to the farm today. My parents finally, at the ages of 80 and 87, they have their shots lined up. So I'm going to go and help them get their first COVID shot. And then I'm sure I'll be gone in a couple of weeks helping them get their second COVID shot. So hopefully all of that goes well. But meanwhile, I am jumping on here right now and we're going to go over whimsical cards and how you can use your scraps to make whimsical cards. So let me go ahead and show you what we're using today. So first of all, this was the mystery card that my downline and I did. So I am not going to actually show you what the cards look like, so you'll just have to stay until we make them all the way through. So it'll be sort of like a mystery to you too. One thing that what you will need is a punch. And so I picked the storybook punch, but any punch, this is the story label punch. Any punch that can punch out a sentiment will do. The stamp set I picked to use is called Parcels and Petals, because it does match up with the punch pretty well. So that is what we're using today. And another reason I picked it is because it has some whimsical types of blooms on here. So we're going to use those in the background of our stamping. The inks I'm using sort of match the paper. So we're making two cards today, two different cards actually. And I have all the paper scraps cut so that they are 1 by 4 inches. And the inks that we're using, because we are stamping tone on tone for a couple of those different cards, is going to be Pool Party. And then we'll also stamp tone on tone with Crumb Cake. So those are the two those are the two ink pads we're going to use for this particular video. And then for stamping the words, we're going to use Night of Navy. So let me set those aside. And these are some accents. So if you're making whimsical cards, twine is a great accent to use on whimsical cards. So we've got some Night of Navy twine from the Well Dressed, I think it's called the Well Dressed product suite. And then also from the Snail Mail product suite, we have the Whisper White twine that's part of that. So we'll set those aside for a second. Here's the scraps. Again, this is from Celebration. So the Flower and Field scraps, you will only be able to get that paper through the end of February. Again, and this is the Paper Blooms scraps. And I kind of have them flipped up to the way that I want to use them. But you can pick whichever side you want to work with. And then for the colors, as I mentioned, there's two cards that we're making today. So for the colors with these papers, I'm going to use Just Jade, Pool Party, and Whisper White. And for the scraps on the Paper Bloom side of the platform here, we're going to use Misty Moonlight and Crumb Cake and Whisper White. All right, so let's go ahead and I will take this out of the way for a second and we'll start doing this kind of mystery stamping here. So let's get our card bases out first. As I mentioned, I'll be making two cards, so I'm just going to do them simultaneously. And you can get into the drawing that I'll do on Thursday by sharing this on your timeline or just making a comment, letting me know where you're watching from. That's always great. I love to see where everybody's from. The first paper here on the left is our Misty Moonlight paper, and the one on the right is Just Jade. Both of them are cut to the same. 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 4 1/4. So I have my trusty Stampin' Up! Bone folder here, and we're gonna go ahead and I score these in advance, and then it's really easy to just press that down during the Facebook Live. All right, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to do a little bit of stamping. So, oh dear, I forgot my scrap paper for stamping onto. Let me see if I can find one real quick. I am thinking, oh, I know where I can grab one. Right behind me, I have some 12 by 12 inserts from a designer series paper pack. So the first thing I'm going to do is grab this one, which is the pool party background, along with our crumb cake background. We're going to do both of these at the same time. So they're both cut to the same. This is going to be the outside panel on our cards, 4 by 5 1/4. And we're going to get our ink pads ready here. So I've got the pool party. So we're going to open that up. And I've got crumb cake because we are doing tone on tone stamping. So we are going to grab, oh dear, I have ink on this and I probably should take it off because I don't even know what color it is. Actually, this ink has probably been on here for a week because I think it's been over a week that I've done my demo meeting. So let me clean that off and then we'll get started here. So we're going to ink this up into the pool party, and we're just going to stamp all over this panel. Look at these pretty whimsical flowers. Now you wouldn't have to stamp all over the panel. In fact, I'm going to show you a way that you don't have to stamp all over the panel. So this is one that I'm doing. So I'm going to set that aside because that one is done. I'm going to grab my chamois again, and I am going to clean this off because we're switching ink colors for the other card. And we're going to do this one in Pool Party. And this time we are just going to bring up a line of ink that is just going up through the center of the card. So it looks like this. So this is how we're going to stamp the second one. Again, tone on tone stamping. So here's the pool party and here is the crumb cake. So that is done. That's all the stamping I'm doing. So you could pick any kind of background stamp to do here. Floral is good because both of the papers that we're using are floral, but you can definitely use this technique with other designs as well. All right, so that is done. Now we're going to take some scrap paper, which I think I have here. Let me grab it. Yep, here it is. I have it labeled so I don't mix it up. Here's just some basic white scrap, and I am going to stamp the sentiment. So again, we're using a sentiment from Parcels and Petals, and I'm going to use Night of Navy ink. So let me go ahead and stamp Happy Birthday here. And we're going to do this on both ends. And then we're going to punch it out with our story label punch. It's usually easier to stamp and then punch because you can use your punches upside down and just bring this right in here and see exactly what it is you're punching out. So let me go ahead and do that. And here is the next one. And that is done. So these are pretty quick and easy cards. You know how I love that, but yet they're whimsical. So we're exploring that option today. So now what we're going to do, so let me move this out of the way. And I'm going to put these colors above this one and these colors above this one. And now what we're going to do is we're going to grab your scraps. So I happen to have all 6 papers represented here from the Flower and Field Designer Series paper. And I'm just going to pick some of these papers to do some whimsical like layering. So I'm just going to throw some down here And this is very hard for me. Maybe it'll be a lot easier for you, but what you want to do is you just kind of want to scatter these across the top and not worry about it being crooked, because with whimsical stamping, it's supposed to be crooked. It's supposed to look that way. So for this side, I'm going to, again, just grab some scraps and put them down here. And call that good. I'm calling it good. All right, so then you have some leftovers. We're going to hang on to those because we're going to use those a little bit later. So I think I'll just go ahead and glue this in now. So I've got my glue here. Maybe I'll start with the middle one. It doesn't really matter. What you want to do is not be too harsh on yourself and just get these down in a whimsical manner. So I'm just taking a deep breath and I am putting these on and calling it whimsical, even though it's really hard for me to do that. I just want to straighten them out so bad. I'm actually going to make them a little more crooked if that's possible, because what I'm trying to do is make sure, okay, so this is the straight lace coming out. I'm trying to make sure that the right and the left are kind of even here on these sides. Now we're going to try to do here the same thing over here. Just going to drop these papers in. Just some random papers, because remember, we're going for whimsy. And we're going to put this one in. And call it good. That's good. Okay, be brave, everyone. All right, so here we go. We have the strips of paper onto our card. Now, the next thing to do is just to wrap it with some twine. So I'm going to take this Night of Navy twine. I'm going to take enough that I have enough to tie off a bow. So let me grab my scissors here. And I'll do the same thing for the Whisper White. So I'm going about 4 times across, just so I have enough room that I don't have to fumble. If I was making this without doing a Facebook Live, I might, you know, just go 3.5 times or something, but I'm giving myself extra room. So what you're going to do then is wrap this around twice. And tie it into a bow. Wow, I really didn't give myself a lot. So whenever I'm doing twine versus tying into a bow right off the bat, I actually tie it into a knot first, and then I tie it into a bow. Oh my gosh, you guys, go 5 times. I went 4 times, I should have went 5 times. Because it is not very, I'm not leaving myself a lot of room for air here. All right, it's gonna look fine, but I would give yourself a little extra to play with. So there's the first one. And now we're gonna do the second one. Hopefully I've done enough here that it will work okay. Oh, I don't know, this is pretty short. So I'm gonna tie it into a knot first. And then a bow. Oh my gosh, do not do what I do. Do what I say, not what I do. So I say go 5 times across, not 4, because I am really leaving myself a small amount of ribbon to play with. And it's not even working, I gotta redo it. We're almost there. Trust me, it's coming along. It's just hard to tie these little tiny bows. Oh, there we go. Well, that's a pretty cute little whimsical bow. That worked out okay. Pretty tiny. But again, I didn't want to waste all of that twine. All right, so then once you have your bow done, you can kind of move your twine so that you have something that sort of, you know, goes a little crisscrossy on your card like this. And then you can do the same thing over here. And then we're going to kind of move this over, I think, so we have some room. for our punch out. All right, let's grab the punch outs. Birthday cheer to you all year. That's a pretty cute little punch out. We're going to flip it over and add some dimensionals. So I'm going to put one at the bottom and the top. And then we're just going to put this on our cards. So we'll set this one in right here. Well, that looks pretty good. And we're going to set this one in right here. Actually, this I need to move over just a tinch. There we go. And we'll set this in. Like so. Boy, I left so little room for air here. But that looks pretty cute. Let's trim this up. A very tiny bow on this one and a big loopy bow on the other one. All right, so that is the front of our card. Now remember, I had mentioned we have some little extras left over. So let me put this aside for a minute because we need to work with the inside panels and the envelopes. So I'm going to grab the envelopes here and we are going to use so these inside panels are all the same size cut. Let's work with the inside panels first. They're both cut at 4 by 5 1/4, and we're going to make one inside panel crumb cake, and the other one is going to be whisper white. And you have a couple of options here. You can do a little stamping, just kind of to, you know, make it look really cool, except I stamped the wrong color. I'm going to flip it over, put it towards the top. Let me grab the pad I wanted to use was the crumb cake, so I accidentally put it into the Night of Navy. So let me do a redo on that one. Luckily, paper has 2 sides. So let's just stamp. Now I got it on my fingers. I better re-ink. So we don't want a finger mark on our stamped image. There we go. Perfect. I'm not going to mess with it. I'm going to take that one out, clean our ink again. And we're going to stamp this one in Pool Party. Yep, I think I better just make sure that, double sure that is clean. There we go. I'm going to put another image here on the inside. Perfect. All right, now what you're going to do is you're going to take a look at the leftover pieces that you didn't use on the outside of your panel. And one of the cards is going, or one of the pieces that's left over is going to go at the bottom of your inside panel. Oh, I kind of like that one. And then the other leftover piece is going to go on your envelope. So maybe we'll put this one on our envelope. And then this one, so this is pretty cute. So it's got some pretty dots on the back. You could take a butterfly punch or something like that and punch out a couple of butterflies and maybe add that to your card so that you would be efficiently using all of your scraps. Now in this case, I am not going to do that because I'm not prepared with a butterfly punch, and it only occurred to me right now that you could do that, but that would be really cute. So you can use your scraps even more efficiently than what I'm going to do. So I just went ahead and I glued this down, and we're going to put this aside because that is going to go with this card. And now we're going to work on this other one over here. So for that one, let me find my scraps. And I think I like this one for the envelope, so I can see that already, how awesome that looks on the envelope. And then we just have to pick what we want to use on the inside. So I think I'm going to use this green one on the inside. And we'll just set this right down here. Looks great. Now, how do we do this with the envelope? Because putting this on the envelope can really get you in trouble if you don't do it just right. Because as it's going through the mail, you may notice that things can get really wrecked going through the mail. So you don't want anything that's loose. So you could put this on as an adhesive sheet that's Stampin' Up! Sells. However, there's another way to do it. And if you happen to have a silicone mat, I'm going to show you how you can decorate your envelopes with strips of paper, and they will not come off in the mail. So what you want to do is grab your silicone mat, and then you're going to take your Stampin' Seal, and you are going to run that right along the edge, so that part of it seems like it's going on the mat and part of it is going onto your paper. Because it won't stick to the mat, you can pull it away, and when you put it onto your paper, all of your edges will be very, very much stuck down. So they will not come up in the mail. This will arrive perfect. So that one's done. So let's go ahead now and do the other one. So again, just these silicone mats are truly great investments because there's so many ways to use them, and it's so nice that the glue and your adhesives, whatever adhesives you're using, does not stick to the mat. It's always just ready to go. I can put my envelope right on the mat where I had just put Stampin' Seal, and it doesn't matter. And the Stampin' Seal is so strong, this will not be coming off. All right, so that one is down. So we've got our envelopes decorated. We've got our inside panels decorated. We've got our outside panels decorated. So all that's left to do is to put these cards together, which is what I'm going to do right now. So these will be my giveaways coming up on Thursday. So all I have to do is grab some of my multi-purpose liquid glue, and we're just going to put a line all the way around. And we'll add this to the front of the card. Oh, I love this color combo of Just Jade with Pool Party. I think it's so pretty. And now look at how whimsical that looks. It looks so great. Then we're going to go ahead and add this to the inside. There we go. And now let's go ahead and do this other one. So this is where we're using some of the neutral colors here. We've got Misty Moonlight, and we're going to put this one on the outside. You know, it's so funny because as I was doing this, I was looking at it going, oh my gosh, it's not pretty enough for my watchers. But you know what? As I'm doing it, I'm like, wow, these turned out really pretty. So all this like stress and worry I had over, you know, making them look whimsical turned out to be for naught. They just look adorable. Oh my gosh, I just love them. So now we can put a little glue on the back of this one, add this to the inside panel, and that card is done along with its coordinating envelope. And then this card is also done along with its coordinating envelope. So there you have it. And this is what I will mail out to you if you're one of my winners, along with a surprise gift, because I love to do little surprises. So you will get a surprise gift along with the card. So thank you, everyone. I am ready now to run to the farm and get my parents to Windham, Minnesota, so they can get their shots and be safe from COVID. Everybody have a great day. I truly appreciate you, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.